What's going on, everyone? So, the Lakers' first attempt to really upgrade and improve the team became a total disaster, right? Dan Hurley. He was the guy that was supposed to be the culture shift, was supposed to be the big grand prize, the big grand change that the Lakers thought that they could pry away from UConn, bring in, and kind of hit a bit of a reset with the franchise. And it fell miserably, right? He ends up staying in UConn. And now a lot of people kind of feel like, well, season's already over before it even started, right? The rest of the head coaching candidates are all inexperienced or not great. Like, no one really has that championship DNA, that championship pedigree. No one you look at is like, oh man, this is a guy that, clearly could take this roster to the next level, right? It's like they're all kind of gambles. However, Dan Hurley would have been a gamble as well. It kind of felt like a safer bet because he does have the head coaching experience at a college level. Also, a lot of his offensive philosophies and schemes really are translatable to the NBA, right? Like, a simplified example is like the think of like the Golden State Warriors and their offense, right? Think of like the San Antonio Spurs and their offense, right? It's just constant movement, constant action, ball's not sticking much, right? Everybody's chipping in, everyone has a part to play, everyone has a role to play, right? Again, kind of a bit of a simplification of it, but it's something that should be able to translate. He also is just a madman when it comes to just preparation and getting his team involved in his culture and it looked like something that, like, okay, even though it is a gamble and even though it is a risk, it kind of felt like a safe risk, right? Where a lot of these other guys, it's like, you're kind of rolling the dice here a little bit. And the Lakers are supposed to kind of hit the reset, reevaluate some of these head coaches. Problem is that these coaches are drying up. James Borrego, he potentially could be gone. I mean, at the time of recording this video, he's still available, but there's a lot of talks that he maybe end up taking the Cleveland Cavaliers job. So, depending on when you're watching this video, it's very possible that he's already taken that and accepted that, which, again, makes the pool really thin. And a lot of people are like, man, we're going to end up with J.J. Redick. It's going to be a disaster, and the season's going to be essentially over before it started. Now, personally, I like J.J. Redick. I've been in the camp of J.J. Redick. I think he'll do a great job. Will he be a championship and be able to lead this team to a championship in year one? I don't know. The likelihood is not very high. Even with James Borrego, or even with Dan Hurley, the odds were very slim. Right? I mean, even if you just go look at Dan's history, he usually takes a couple years to kind of get through the process and really kind of lay his foundation. So even with Dan Hurley, it doesn't necessarily translate to an immediate NBA championship, right? The idea was that it was more of the long term with Dan. It's like, okay, he's the signal that everything's changing for the Lakers, right? Even if we don't win, it just felt like, okay, at least we know where we're heading type thing. Where JJ, it does feel like we don't know where we're heading, right? We just got a captain of the ship. Again, he's not hired yet. I'm not saying in the sense of like, oh, he's for sure going to be hired. I'm just saying in the sense of like any of these coaches, right? Just kind of using JJ as the example, but like it kind of feels like with JJ, if the Lakers do sign JJ, it's like, okay, we don't know. Like, we know the captain can steer a ship. We just don't know if he is going to steer the ship into, the rocks over there, or is he going to be able to steer the ship to the promised land where we're headed, right? Like, so I do understand the sense of like, the mysteries of the unknown, right, are always just tough, right? But to me, at the end of the day, it depends on how everything shapes up and continues to fall. Right now, it's frustrating. Right now, we're all just like, man, look, the Lakers are losing their luster. It's this, that. Right? All of us are very frustrated given the circumstances, and rightfully so. I mean, this wasn't a great sequence, right? It is very frustrating. But to me, again, it depends on how the rest unfolds, right? Lakers sign J.J. Redick, let's say. Again, using him as an example. I do believe the Lakers are going to end up signing J.J. Redick, but I don't know that for certain. Just my guess. Just my personal opinion. I think the Lakers are going to end up, I think JJ is going to end up falling face first in the Lakers job. But again, let's just use him as an example, right? Like, let's say the Lakers sign JJ Redick. I'm not really worried about him on court. I'm not really worried about the X's and O's and whatnot. I'm more worried about like the off court stuff, right? Like everything that goes on behind the scenes. I'm not really worried about like the preparation and stuff like that. It's more of like, can he manage the egos and the players, and what is his workouts like? Is he going to be able to control and kind of keep LeBron and Anthony Davis bought in, right? Like how is he going to manage and weather just the agents and the organization? And it's just a lot that goes into it. And look, I know that there's reports that some Laker players don't want JJ Redick and stuff like that. One, is that even true? Two, even if it is, it depends on the players, right? If it's Anthony Davis, then, maybe JJ doesn't get signed. But if it's like, whatever, Rui Hachimura or something like that, look, like he might not even be on the roster by the time the season begins. So again, it just depends on who the players are. But nonetheless, right? Like, let's say you do sign JJ, right? If the Lakers land a Donovan Mitchell, right? Or even just like another sharp, DeJounte Murray or something. Let's say they just pull off some quality trades. All of a sudden, everyone's going to be bought back in and we're going to be feeling good. Right? It's like, oh man, we got Donovan Mitchell, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Or maybe you sign like a Royce O'Neal or something, right? It's like, we got, we got Donovan Mitchell, Royce O'Neal, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and everything, right? Like, if the Lakers roster shapes up nicely, then I do think that everything will kind of full circle come back around and be good again. We'll all kind of feel good again. But if it's like, the Lakers, Donovan Mitchell re-ups and, the San Antonio Spurs trade for DeJounte Murray, and it's like, everything kind of falls through. Like, no one wants to trade with us. Like, there is still that sense of like, we could end up being stuck. We could end up signing JJ Redick and basically running it back as a roster. And it's like, are we good enough? Is it going to work? Even if JJ is a great coach, let's say he looks great. Everything about him just kind of checks off immediately. Even if it does, it's like, is the roster good enough? Can the roster still compete? Like, what does LeBron look like in year 22, age 40, right? Like, can Anthony Davis continue to stay healthy, right? Does D'Lo disappear? Like, there's just I don't think it's panic mode. I don't think it's anything. Like, I do think some people are kind of, blowing it out of proportion a little bit. A lot of people are, kind of just the panic sets in. Oh no, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. I don't think we're there yet. Like, again, we haven't even gotten to the off season yet, right? Like, what if the Lakers, do something crazy? Like, what if they do sign? Let's say they sign JJ Redick, or let's say they do land James Borrego. Let's move off JJ, right, for this little analogy here, right? Like, say they do move off of James Borrego, or they move off JJ and they end up signing James Borrego. Say they get James Borrego as the head coach. Let's say they go and trade for DeJounte Murray and then turn around and land, like, I don't know, Lauri Markkanen or something on top of that. Again, I don't think that that's very likely or anything, but you never know, right? Stranger things have happened. Say the Lakers end up making this huge splash, and you're just like, whoa, where did that come from, right? And it's like, now the Lakers are off to the races, right? Or maybe, let's say they signed DeMar DeRozan or something. There's so many things that could happen. There's so many possibilities that are still out there to be explored, right? Obviously, coaching is important. We need a good quality head coach. We need somebody that can lead the charge, and steer the ship. But I think we'll be fine, right? You still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Obviously, you got to put a proper team around them. And there are some questions and concerns about them, period. But even if you did sign Dan Hurley, right? Like, there still is a lot of the same questions, right? Even if you did land Dan Hurley, it's like, okay, well, if nothing else happens, we're probably not winning with him. All the question marks with LeBron James and Anthony Davis would still be the same, right? Like, it's just, I don't think anything's really changed, is my point. Like, I don't think it's like, if you weren't really panicking before, I don't think you should be panicking now. And even if you were panicking before. Right? I think, again, let things unfold. Let's wait and see how this stuff plays out. Again, it could be a total disaster and shipwreck, and we're all just like, well, this is not going to go well, or it could turn out great, right? Like, now again, maybe you get some quality pieces, or maybe it's not even another star. Maybe it's just some quality depth, right? Maybe you sign a Valanciunas and you trade for an Alex Caruso and whatever, several old guys or something. And it's just, you got some clear upgrades, and it's like, wow, this roster really shaped up. This roster is really looking good, right? Like maybe things work out. Again, I'm going to always be optimistic. I'm going to always be hopeful, but I understand the frustrations. Again, I understand people kind of like, well, that didn't go great, right? Now it's like, the sky is falling, but I believe the Lakers will be fine. I think it'll all work out. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Basketball show on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that, are you in the camp of like, this was a disaster, sky is falling? Are you in the camp of like, nah, everything's cool. It'll work out. It'll be fine. Again, how you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.